Which is your favorite editor to work with code? Is it going to be VS Code or a product from JetBrains? Or is there another product that you'd like to work with? But wait a minute, you're not a real programmer unless you're working with Vim or Emacs. And then if we fast forward 5 years, you say the same thing to somebody, and they might say to you, what is a programmer? All right, so let's not spread that lie around because programmers will be around for years to come. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today, what I want to do is just go over some of the AI code generators that we have popping onto the scene. Some of them we're already really familiar with, like GitHub Copilot. But there are other options. We have Amazon's Code Whisperer. And beyond that, we also have Google Duet AI. And not to be left out of the race, to make sure there's an AI in your IDE, we have JetBrains AI as well. It seems like AI is being integrated into everything we get our hands on. Now, the ultimate goal of these tools is to make sure that we can be productive coders, productive programmers. And that makes me think about some of the other tools that we have at our disposal, some that we don't always talk about. But if you've been coding for a while, then you probably heard about some of these other tools. And I'm talking about editors within the command line. Specifically, we have a few. We have the Nano editor. Now, this is by far one of the easiest ones to work with. And then we have V and Vim, and then we have Emacs. Now, Vim and Emacs are two of the power editors that people use. Nano's a little bit more lightweight. It's going to be more performant. And if you're just getting started, that's going to be the one to go with. But now you have this wide gap that's been developing over time. You know, over the years, people have been going back and forth, which is the better editor to use? Is it an editor with a graphical user interface? Or is it a command line editor? And the question comes up because it comes down to how can you be a more effective and productive programmer? Now, two of the biggest names when it comes to text editors and IDEs are going to be VS Code and JetBrains. There are others, but these are the two dominant. And the beauty of these two is that they provide a lot of different features, a lot of functionality, and a lot of different ways to integrate with different frameworks and libraries and types of projects that you're going to work on. And there's a bunch of different ways to extend them with different types of plugins and add-ons to make it specifically work how you want it. You can really configure these tools to really improve your workflow. But some of the issues over the years has been the performance of them. Some of them can be very power hungry. Now, they have gotten better, but when you compare it to something like Nano or Vim, the speed of being at the command line and just typing away, never having to use the mouse, being able to use keyboard shortcuts and speed up your workflow. Once you get over that initial learning curve, you're going to see your performance increase significantly. But now that we have these code AI generators, these code assistants, like GitHub Copilot, like Code Whisperer, like Duet AI, and JetBrains AI, that gap is widening. And obviously AI is all the rage. And being able to use some natural language type prompting is going to make you even more efficient. Especially if you don't have an idea of exactly how to code something, you can prompt it. And this is where you start segueing from being a true coder into a prompt engineer, or really just blending the two. So now the question is, who's going to be faster? Someone working on a command line with an editor they're very familiar with, or someone using one of these AI code generators integrated with their text editor or IDE? And then that makes you think about another question. What type of computer do you need in order to properly run some of these IDEs? Because again, performance is going to be something that you're going to see degrade once you start integrating more plugins and add-ons. So if you're running an older machine, you might have some performance issues. If you're running a more spec'd out and modern machine, that might not be the case. But of course, there's a workaround to that as well. Some of these text editors and IDEs, they're working on cloud-based solutions. In particular, we know that you don't need to have VS Code on your computer. Now you just need an internet connection and you can log in and use their servers. Yeah, it's VS Code in the cloud. But Google is doing the same thing. They have the Google Duet AI. And that's going to be a larger cloud-based solution. So while it does integrate with your local development environment, you could also use it in the cloud. So it's going to be interesting because we've seen over the past few years, over the past decade really, a lot of shifting from owning the software, having it downloaded on your machine, and nowadays having more subscriptions and using these platforms in the cloud. A lot of the times you don't really own it, you have a license to use it. So with all these AI code generators coming out, integrating with the IDEs and text editors, are more and more people going to switch from using a command line editor like Nano, Vim, or Emacs over to using something that either JetBrains or VS Code provides. Now, one thing I definitely recommend is that everybody learn a command line editor, something like Nano, because if you're managing a web server, it's going to be important that you know how to SSH into your system and work on the configuration files of that system. And Nano is very easy to use. Now, if you want to be a power user on the command line, then definitely learn how to use Vim or Emacs. Now, what's the difference between these two editors? Well, if you want blazing fast performance, go with Vim. It has more features and functionalities than Nano, but is faster than Emacs. Now, Emacs has more features and functionality than Vim, but it does suffer from performance because of all the added features and functionality. Alright, so sound off down below. What editor are you going to be using? Is it going to be one with a graphical user interface? Is it going to be on the command line? Are you going to take the AI code generators and integrate it with your graphical user interface? Or are you going to use a cloud-based solution? Let me know your answer down in the comment section. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification icon. If you have any thoughts, comments, or suggestions, leave them down below. And as always, thanks for watching and happy coding.